troubleshooters. I went to bed after watching a video last night and it was played on my mind so much I had to get up. It's only 3 o'clock in the morning here in the UK. And I had to get up because it's a follow-on from the last video I actually posted on this channel where it was, I left a link to Ammo Independence, the Firearm Survival Guide. And it's about USA gun control really, and for a reason, because if they can control the guns then when rioting starts, and it's pretty well surely going to happen as it did in Argentina 100 years ago, then they'll have some control on it, because right now they've got no control on it. There's so many guns there. There isn't the same restrictions, there isn't the same, there's no firearms really in Britain. We're very controlled, so it's not likely to happen. So it really does concern you guys over the pond, as I said in the last video. But anyway, this video I watched and I started thinking about it and actually dreaming about it, and the fatal shooting of an unarmed black man caught on tape, you know, with a young lad caught it all on his cell phone, and the cops getting convicted for murder, and it was murder. He shot him 8 times in the back. The guy only got pulled over for a light. So I've included the whole clip of it. Excuse me, I'm tired, I'm not all dressed up and I'm still in my pyjamas under my nice warm overalls because the heating isn't on yet. But anyway, have a look at this, and as I say, I've included a link again for the Ammo Independence, the Firearm Survival Guide, in the description, so do have a look at that, and you know, if necessary buy it, because it isn't expensive in the States, and just get your head around what is happening. I'm an avid investor on the stock markets, and I know that or rather the reports I'm reading are that the US government can't even pay its interest on its loans, never mind its loans. It's in El Crapo, despite of what politicians are telling you. It certainly would appear it's struggling. Anyway, that's it. I'll show the I'll put the vid on. And
the South Carolina police officer who was caught on surveillance, or I should say on a cell phone video, shooting Walker Scott as he was running away from him, has been charged with murder. So he will be facing murder charges. This was a story that broke a few days ago, and as it continues to develop, it just shows you just how unbelievable this police officer is, not only in the amount of lies he told in the police report, but also in the fact that he shows absolutely no remorse in shooting at a man 8 times as he was running away from him. Now, we do have the video for you in case you haven't seen it yet. It is a difficult video to watch, so I want to give you that warning. Let's take a look at that, and I'll fill you in on more details.
Fucking abuse.
Now, the cop had no idea that there was a bystander there that was taking footage of what was occurring. And so he has his own version of the story, which he filed in a police report, which we'll get to in just a second. But I should note that this all started with a routine traffic stop. Oftentimes when we do these stories of police brutality, it starts off with something minor, and then it quickly escalates into a situation that it did not need to escalate to. So in this case, the cop had alleged that Walter Scott had reached for his taser and was trying to use the taser against him. Although it's very, very clear that the officer had already used the taser on him. The probes were already connected to Walter Scott, and there was no way that the taser could have been used against him. The video shows that he did not grab for the taser. In fact, later on in the video, you can see the officer taking the taser and putting it right behind or right next to Scott's body.
So the taser had been dropped, it appears, where the officer was shooting from. He goes back there, picks it up, and drops it off there. Now, to me, upon a second watching of that video today, of the one we just got from AJ Plus, I'm amazed by the laziness of the officer. So everybody knows the immorality of shooting someone in the back and someone who clearly was not a danger to anyone, who was clearly unarmed. The officer had already had some interaction with him and knew he wasn't armed. Obviously, the guy's not pointing anything at him. He's running away from him. That's all obvious. But think about the laziness, right? You could go run after him. You could tackle him, right? You could try to subdue him in another way. Nah. Who's going to run he's 50 years old. You're 33 years old. He wasn't running that fast, if you notice.
No,
right?
he wasn't running fast at all.
Right.
And even if he was running away from you and there was absolutely no way of you catching him, you do not use lethal force against him. And in fact, there is a Supreme Court precedent on issues like this, which we'll get to. But yeah, it goes beyond laziness, Cenk. That cop wanted to shoot the gun. That cop saw that guy as a throwaway of society. He didn't care, right? And look, the reason why he ran away from the cop after this routine traffic stop is because he apparently owes back child support. And so he's engaged, he wants to start a new life, he can't afford the child support for his children, and so he was afraid that he was going to go to jail, which is why he ran away. He shouldn't have done that, but that doesn't give anyone any reason to shoot him and kill him. So what happens if there is a suspect on the run? Can the cop use lethal force in order to stop him? Well, there is a Supreme Court ruling that goes all the way back to the 1970s. It actually deals with a matter very similar to this. It all started with a 15-year-old by the name of Edward Garner who was caught burglarizing a home. Apparently, police officers showed up to the scene. The 15-year-old ran away, and as he was jumping the fence, the cop started to shoot at him. Okay, so this case went all the way to the Supreme Court. The 15-year-old, of course, died as a result of this. And here's what the Supreme Court found. It held that an officer may use deadly force against a fleeing suspect only when there is probable cause that the suspect poses a significant threat of death or serious physical injury to the officer or others. In fact, Justin Byron White says the following: where the suspect poses no immediate threat to the officer and no threat to others, the harm resulting from failing to apprehend him does not justify the use of deadly force to do so. What the cop did in this case was unlawful. It has already been established by the Supreme Court, the highest court in the United States. And so I'm very curious to see what his defense is, because there is evidence that he was not in any type of danger, and what he did was not justified, even if he was trying to apprehend him.
There was no video. You know that at least 50% of the country would be defending him to the hilt. And they're going to see this, and what are they going to say? A few bad apples. Oh, even Fox News is saying, well, we kind of agree with you on this one. Okay, we'll give you this one. But this is not like the others. No, the others you didn't have video on. Every time we have a video, it's just like the others. Tamir Rice didn't have his back turned, but he was a 12-year-old boy who got shot in 2 seconds. He didn't even have a chance to turn his back to them. He didn't have a chance to say it was a toy gun. And then you tell me every time, it's not like the others. It's not like the others. No, it is like the others. That's our point. You think all those communities just made it up? You think that there's protests in those communities because they never had an issue with the cops before? The cops treated them wonderfully. And this one time that there was, oh my God, a bad apple, the community flips out. No, because this is like the others.
Yeah. Now, just to show you just how similar this is to other cases of police brutality, we can delve into the police report that was filed by Michael Slager after he shot and killed Walter Scott. Okay, so the police officer had no idea that there was someone there filming him as he was trying to apprehend Scott. So he got to share his side of the story, which is very, very different from what you see in that video. The police released a statement alleging that Scott had attempted to gain control of a taser from Slager and that he was shot in a struggle over the weapon. Okay, so that was how the first shot was fired. There was a struggle over the weapon. Huh, that sounds really similar to the Michael Brown case. Super similar. Yeah.
And by the way, they say, oh no, this Fox News just said recently, this is not like the Michael Brown case at all, where there was a struggle over the gun and then Wilson had to... No. First, we don't have video on Michael Brown. There was a struggle over the gun, but we don't know who started that struggle, right? And Michael Brown ran away, just like in this case. At some point, Michael Brown stops running away and turns around. We don't know why, but a couple of the witnesses said he put his hands up and he was bleeding from the arms because it looked like he just got shot.
Yes.
So that would make it incredibly similar. Now, the difference again is that Michael Brown at that point decides to charge at the officer, whereas in this case, This gentleman never had a chance. He just got shot in the back and got killed.
Exactly. So more from the police report. A statement released by North Charleston Police spokesperson Spencer Pryor said a man ran on foot from the traffic stop and an officer deployed his department-issued taser in an attempt to stop him. That did not work, police said, and an altercation ensued as the man struggled over the device. Police allege that during the struggle, the man gained control of the taser. That did not happen. And attempted to use it against the officer. That did not happen. When confronted, Officer Slager reached for his taser. As trained by the department, and then a struggle ensued. The driver tried to overpower the officer in an effort to take his taser. Seconds later, the report added, he radioed that the suspect wrested control of the device. Even with the taser's prongs deployed, the device can still be used as a stun gun to temporarily incapacitate someone. That is also not true. It's all bullshit.
Okay, so their argument there was, yeah, now he knows they're going to see that in evidence that he already tased them, right? He says, well, he got the gun for a taser from me, even though the taser prongs were inside of him. He could have still used it as a stun gun. Okay, yeah, that could be true if he actually had it, but as you see in the video, he doesn't have it. It falls on the ground. The cop, after shooting him to death, picks it up and puts it next to the dead body to frame him, and so that he could do this. But I'm sure this is the only cop who's ever planted evidence and lied about it.
A study by Slate found police in South Carolina have fired their weapons 209 suspects in the past 5 years, but none were convicted of any crimes. So investigations were happened in all of those cases, 209 cases, and in every single case, police protocol was utilized. I don't believe that for a second.
Black, white, yellow, grey, whatever colour you are, it's disgusting behaviour. That anybody in the UK, all over the world, or any democracy anyway, we know what goes on in the dictatorship world. It's horrific anyway, but to claim to be a democracy and let that kind of behaviour happen is not democracy at all, and it's a breakdown of democracy, which again brings me back to the link. Click the link and have a look, and see what you think about what's happening in the States. And even if you're UK, it's worth a look, because we won't be far behind this kind of thing. We've seen Northern Ireland and on our own doorsteps where innocent people have died at the hands of guns. Sunday Bloody Sunday. But anyway, have a look at this, and do go to the link and have a look rather. And I'm tired, I'm going back to bed. Anyway, this is Peter Guns and Stuff signing out for the night, being very quiet because everybody else in the house is asleep. Please subscribe, and please leave your comments so I can continue with this channel.